The fourth part of the movie begins in the house of an old man named Frank, and he makes tea. But suddenly, he gets a strange feeling, and when he looks at the house in front of him and finds it lit, despite that this house is abandoned for years, so Frank leaves what he makes and goes to see what the story of this house is. And when he enters the house, he goes up to the last floor and stands behind the door. And at that time, he sees in front of him unclear features of Voldemort, and he sits on a chair, but his power is still not complete yet, and his voice is very scary, and Peter stands in front of him, and he is afraid. And Voldemort says to Peter that they must get rid of Harry Potter. And suddenly, and while they talk, a huge snake appears named Nagini, and the snake crawls into place, and Frank freezes from fear. And this snake is Voldemort's close animal, and he considers it his right arm. And when Nagini senses the presence of Frank, she informs Voldemort immediately, so quickly. Voldemort kills Frank. And at the same moment, Harry Potter wakes up from sleep, and it turns out that everything he saw was a dream. But it is not just a dream because it is a vision. And it happened actually. Meaning what Harry saw was a real scene that happened, and this means that Voldemort plans so that he returns again and gets rid of Harry Potter. And we know that Harry, since the vacation, is staying in Ron's house, and Hermione comes and wakes Ron and Harry and tells them that Arthur waits for them outside. And Arthur takes them, the three, to the forest and introduces them to his colleague who works in the Ministry of Magic, and his son Cedric, and who is also a student in Hogwarts School, but older than them by a few years. And after that, they all travel through a portkey and go to watch the Quidditch World Cup, and which plays in it the most famous two Quidditch teams in the world, and among them, the best Quidditch player in the world, and whose name is Crumb. And after the match, Harry and his friends go to rest a little in a tent, but suddenly they hear the sound of screaming and noise outside the tent, and they do not understand what happens. So Arthur tells them that an attack happened on them from the Death Eaters, and they kill in the desert outside. They must escape from here immediately before they get killed too. And we know that the Death Eaters are the followers of Lord Voldemort, and they consider from the most dangerous and fiercest wizards in the world, and every one of them obeys Voldemort blindly without thinking. And they participate with him in his plans to spread darkness and control the wizarding world. And after that, Harry and those with him go out running outside amid the chaos and the people who die. But amid these events, Harry falls and faints. And when he wakes up, he finds the place destroyed around him and completely empty. And suddenly, he finds a wizard from the Death Eaters named Barty standing in front of him. And this wizard he had seen in his dream before. And Barty starts drawing the dark mark in the sky so that people know that Lord Voldemort returns again. But after moments, this wizard disappeared. And at that time, Hermione and Ron and his family arrive at Harry and rescue him quickly. They exit from the place they are in. And the next day, all the students arrive at Hogwarts to start the new school year. And Dumbledore gathers them in the meeting room and tells them that this year they will host new students from other magic schools to participate with them in the Triwizard Tournament. And Dumbledore hosts two schools, and the first school is a famous girls' school, and the second school is a boys' school, and its most famous student is Crumb. And after that, Dumbledore starts explaining to them everything about the Triwizard Tournament and tells them that this tournament is a very ancient magical competition, and it happens between three major magic schools. And this tournament was made to test the students' abilities in magic and courage and behavior under pressure, and makes the students show the best they have in difficult challenges. And all students who are 17 years old or more can put their name in the Goblet of Fire to participate in the competition. And this Goblet of Fire is a magical goblet that chooses one student from each school. And after the goblet chooses 3 champions, they compete in 3 dangerous magical tasks. And who wins the 3 tasks wins the cup for his school. But he warns them that these tasks can be deadly, and therefore it is forbidden for students whose age is less than 17 years to participate in it. And this means that Harry and his friends cannot possibly participate in the competition because they have not yet reached 15 years. And he continues his speech and tells the students that who wants to participate in the competition writes his name on a paper and puts it in the Goblet of Fire. And after that, the goblet itself chooses a student from each school to participate and tells them that cheating is forbidden because the Goblet of Fire discovers the cheater and punishes him. And while they talk, a new teacher arrives at the school named Moody, and we know that he worked in the Ministry of Magic as a hunter for Death Eater wizards, meaning specialized in chasing evil wizards. And Dumbledore called him to teach the students how to defend themselves from dark magic. And the next day, all the students attend the first lesson for Professor Moody, and he tells them in this lesson information about the 3 unforgivable curses, and uses the curses on a spider to explain to them how the curses work. And among these curses is the Avada Kedavra curse. And this is the killing curse that no one can survive from it. And there is no one who survived from it in the whole world except Harry Potter. And after that, the Goblet test comes for the students who participate in the tournament. And the first person the Goblet chooses is a girl from Beauxbaton School named Fleur. And the second person the Goblet chooses is Krum from Durmstrang School. And finally, the Goblet chooses Cedric from Hogwarts School. And thus, the Goblet has chosen the 3 competitors who participate, but suddenly something happens that no one expected, because the Goblet chooses a 4th student to participate in the competition, and the shock is that this student is Harry Potter. And of course, Dumbledore is shocked because Harry is under the legal age and cannot participate. So he calls Harry, and he is angry, and asks him why he cheated and put his name in the Goblet. So Harry completely denies that he put his name, and he is afraid and does not understand what happens. And all the attendees are shocked by what happened and do not understand how it happened. So Dumbledore holds a meeting with the Ministry of Magic to tell them that Harry cannot participate in the tournament because he is young and the matter is dangerous. But Crouch, the wizard's judge, tells him that since the Goblet chose Harry, he must participate in the tournament, and there is no room for withdrawal. And from after this situation, all the school students take a position from Harry and think that he cheated to put his name in the Goblet of Fire, even though he has no guilt at all, and he himself does not understand how his name was put in the Goblet of Fire. And this talk means that very powerful magic was done to the Goblet to force it to choose Harry's name. And the next day, when Sirius Black knows what happened, he contacts Harry through the fire and tells him that everything that happens to him is not just coincidence, and surely someone arranged for him to put his name in the Goblet of Fire for a bad purpose, and also tells him strange information. And it is that the headmaster of Durmstrang School was from the Death Eaters previously and caused the imprisonment of the son of Judge Crouch. And at night, Hagrid goes to meet Harry in the forest and tells him that the first competition in the tournament will be a Quidditch match, but different from any Quidditch he played before, because each competitor will face alone a huge dragon. And to win the competition, he must fight the dragon and take the golden egg that will be in the competition arena, and which the dragon guards. And the next day, the first round in the competition begins, and each one of them enters a confrontation with his own dragon, and they all manage to overcome it until Harry's turn comes, and he discovers that he will face the most dangerous dragon of them. And in the beginning, Harry is weak and afraid and is about to die, but he gathers his courage and fights to the last breath, and in the end, he manages to take the golden egg. And from after that, all the students are proud of Harry Potter because he won the first round and celebrate him in the school. And Harry has curiosity to know what is inside this golden egg, so he opens it. But as soon as he opens it, a disturbing sound comes out that no one of them can bear, so quickly he closes it again. And of course, Harry's curiosity increases more towards the golden egg, and he wants to know what its benefit is. And one day, Cedric goes to tell him that if he wants to know the riddle of the egg, he does like him, and takes the egg and goes down with it under the water. So indeed, Harry does that, and fills the bathtub to the end, and goes down with the egg under the water and opens it. And at that time, the egg asks him to search for something dear to him in the lake. And after hours, the second round in the competition begins. And the task this time is that all the competitors dive in the Black Lake to search for things that belong to them. And of course, each one of the competitors uses a certain spell to be able to breathe under the water. And when Harry goes down under the water, he finds Ron and Hermione and his classmate Cho and Fleur's little sister imprisoned, the 4, under the water and unconscious. And each one of the competitors must save only one person, because the merpeople will prevent them from saving more than one person. So Krum goes to save Hermione and exits with her from the water. And after that, Cedric saves Cho and exits with her, but Fleur gets tired in the middle of the competition and cannot save her sister, so she exits quickly outside the water before she drowns. And Harry stands between Ron and Fleur's sister and does not know whom to save and whom to leave. So he decides that he saves both. But the merpeople do not leave him alone and start attacking him. So Harry exits Ron and Fleur's sister from the water first and remains under the water alone, fighting the merpeople. And the spell effect is about to end, and he cannot breathe under the water. But in the last moment, he gathers his strength and casts a spell that exits him quickly from the water. And quickly, Dumbledore and all the teachers go to check on him, and they are proud of him that he saved two of his friends because he could have died because of what he did. And Dumbledore decides to give him the second place in the competition because of his courage and good morals. Because real magic is what thinks of people's interest before its interest. And at night, they all get surprised when they find Judge Crouch killed. And after that, Dumbledore calls Harry to his office and asks him to wait for him until he returns to him. And Dumbledore meant to leave him alone in the office to show him something specific. And suddenly a pensieve appears from behind him, preserved in it old memories. And suddenly, this pensieve pulls Harry to an old memory. And at that time, Harry finds himself present in the court. And this is the night in which the headmaster of Durmstrang's school was judged after they discovered that he is from the Death Eaters. And the headmaster of the school sits in front of Judge Crouch after he announced his repentance and announces the names of the Death Eaters, and among them, Barty, the son of Judge Crouch. And of course, the matter is a big shock for the judge himself, and he decides that he sends his son to Azkaban prison. And we discover here that Snape was in the past among the members of the Death Eaters. But his conscience woke up one day and decided to stay away from them and joined Dumbledore's side. And when Harry exits this memory, he is shocked, especially that he saw it before in his dream. And after a while, the final competition comes, in which the 4 competitors are supposed to enter a maze to search for a certain cup there, and who finds this cup and touches it wins the competition. But Dumbledore warns the competitors that this is the most difficult stage in the whole competition because they do not know what awaits them inside the maze. And after moments, the competition begins, and the 4 enter inside the maze, which is enchanted with dark magic, and Fleur cannot continue the competition, so Harry helps her to exit from the maze. And also, Krum gets cursed with dark magic, and evil controls him, so Harry and Cedric escape from him and continue running in the maze from the predatory plants until they reach the cup. And each one of them wants the other to touch the cup first to win, but Harry decides that both of them touch the cup at the same moment. And as soon as they touch the cup, they find themselves transported to the graveyard, and they stand next to the grave of Voldemort's family. And here, Harry feels danger and tells Cedric that they must escape immediately, but they do not have time because suddenly they find Peter entering on them, and he carries Lord Voldemort between his hands. So Cedric tries to kill him to defend Harry, but Voldemort orders Peter to finish him, and unfortunately, Peter finishes Cedric with the Avada Kedavra spell. And after that, Peter ties Harry in the graveyard, and Peter starts doing the spell that returns Voldemort his power again. So he puts Voldemort in a strange magical liquid and brings Harry's blood and throws it in the middle of this liquid and starts chanting a certain spell. And suddenly, Voldemort starts regaining his power again and stands on his feet and cannot believe that he regained his power again after more than 13 years. And after that, Voldemort summons the Death Eaters, and as soon as they arrive at him, he starts yelling at them because no one thought to return him during the years that passed. And the biggest shock here is that Lucius is among the Death Eaters, and he is very loyal to Voldemort. And after that, Voldemort goes to stand in front of Harry and looks at him with all hatred and gloating, and cannot believe that he stands in front of the boy who challenged him, and decides at this moment that he enters with him in a magical duel to finish him. And of course, Harry cannot withstand in front of his power. But at this moment, something strange happens, because Harry finds himself suddenly surrounded by the spirit of his mother and his father and Cedric, and they tell him that they will help him to overcome Voldemort. And Cedric's spirit asks Harry to take his body and return it to his father. And indeed, Harry leaves the spirits to deal with Voldemort, and quickly takes Cedric's body and touches the cup. And suddenly, he finds himself returned to the school again. And of course, as soon as Dumbledore and the teachers see Cedric's body in front of them, they get shocked. So Harry continues screaming and crying and tells them that Voldemort returned again, and he is the one who did this to Cedric. So Moody takes Harry to his office to calm him and asks him to tell him what exactly happened in the maze, and starts asking him unnatural questions about Voldemort. So here, Harry starts suspecting that something wrong happens because the enthusiasm is clear in Moody's eyes while he talks about Voldemort. And Harry discovers at this moment that the person standing in front of him is not Moody at all, but it is Barty impersonating Moody. And also, Barty is the one who put Harry's name in the Goblet of Fire to make him face Voldemort in the final competition and kill him. And this, based on Voldemort's own orders. And he also used Voldemort's dark magic to be able to deceive the Goblet. And at the same moment, Dumbledore and Snape arrive at them and surround Barty and return him to his real form, and also know that Barty was imprisoning Moody the whole past period in a trunk. So Dumbledore goes to save Moody and asks Snape to send Barty to Azkaban prison. And the next day, Dumbledore holds a meeting for the students and tells them that Voldemort returned again, and they must be ready for what is coming because they are entering a very difficult stage. And after a while, the school year ends, and all the students return to spend the vacation in their homes, and Harry goes to bid farewell to his friends. And it is clear on him that he is worried about the future, and the fourth part of the movie ends. Thank you for watching.